right behind me is $1 million worth of retail coral, and we are in the largest aquaculture coral facility in the country. There's so much here. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna learn a lot. I hope you guys are too. And as you guys can see, there are tons of different corals here. Let's find Steven because he's got to tell us some stuff about this so I know what the heck is going on. And this is Steven here. And of course, first off, I want, how many species of coral do you have?
Propagate around 3,000 different coral species here, between hard coral, soft corals, anemones, and all kinds of cool stuff. But about 3,000 different ones.
How many gallons of water? You have this facility here, but you also have a retail facility as well. How many gallons of water do you go through?
Roughly around 30,000 gallons, and it goes through about 5,000 gallons a week of water changes.
So I tell you what, I'm trying to learn about fish. By the way, do they call corals fish?
No.
So what do they call corals? Just corals?
Just corals.
But they do eat.
Yeah, so they're actually an animal because they do have calcium build, they have DNA, all this good stuff. They're not a plant. That's why you're able to cut them and actually frag them. Really, really interesting.
And speaking about fragging them, I'm going to get an opportunity to do that later in the video. These corals can be extremely delicate. Of course, we all know about some of the reefs that are in danger, like the Great Barrier Reef. Tell me what is going on. What is happening with the corals in the oceans today?
Because of global warming and the rising temperatures of water is actually causing the corals to bleach out. They can adjust, but it takes time, and that's why we're actually seeing the reefs grow back again, which we didn't know, which is really cool.
So when the temperature changed, they started to die.
Yep.
Now they're starting to adjust to this warmer temperature, and they're starting to come back
again. The corals are coming back, which is what we didn't know was going to happen.
If I wanted to get into coral, where would I start?
TopShelfAquatics.com.
Hold up.
Where would you start? Honestly, the forums are amazing for our industry. Reef2Reef.com is the largest forum in the world, believe it or not, in this industry. So at any given time, 7,000 to 10,000 people are on this forum.
So people like me, newbies like me, can ask questions.
Everything. It's amazing.
And they're not going to be like,
you're an idiot. No.
Okay, see? All right. I definitely want to get into this. This is absolutely incredible. We've got so much to think about. Let's just keep moving. Steven, what in the heck is going on here? This to me looks like something out of a horror film or something like that. This is filtration?
Yeah, so what this is this is a macroalgae that we grow that consumes nutrients in the water. It grows, it's a plant, and you're able to throw it in there and it sucks all the dirty poop out of the water.
Oh, well, that's always something good to have when you have a bunch of really fragile coral. Yeah. To me, this looks like an anemone, is it?
No.
It's a coral.
That's a coral.
And what kind of crazy coral? When you think of coral, I think of like almost like a rock, but these things are moving around like crazy. I mean, there's little brains over here. What are these?
So this particular coral that you're seeing here, called Euophilia coral, the family, or a torch coral. The cool thing about these is these branch like a little tree, and we're able to frag them and actually propagate them because they split out little babies.
How old are these here?
It's kind of hard to say, but I would say from one frag to a mini colony, take a year or so, and then we're obviously cutting those down.
And if you were gonna buy this frag right here, what is that worth?
It's about 500 bucks.
Oh! So these are real anemones here. Just thinking that this is a lot of money. I'm gonna take a wild guess, and I bet you I'm way off. Is there $20,000 worth of anemones in there?
More.
More by how much?
Well, we sell them the black widows for about $200 to $300, and they're about that big. There's probably 1,000 of them in there.
Holy crap. Snakes are awesome, but I might be jumping ship over to the coral world.
So we actually put this in here, and all the bacteria from the systems go to that. So it jump starts the tank cycle for somebody else. So we actually sell this to cycle bacteria into somebody's aquarium, so it helps jumpstart that cycle.
Let's say you use one of these jump starters, right? How long before you set that up before you can put your first coral frag?
I would say 2 months.
2 months? That's not bad.
No, it's not that bad.
All right. I think I'm ready. Like I mentioned before, guys, this is like the beginning days of my snake world when I was learning about things. I'm so curious. And I've noticed that you have a bunch of fish in here, and I'm wondering why. Is there a reason you have this type of fish? What are they doing, or are they just in there?
Because we're trying to essentially replicate the ocean. The reason there's fish is because they poop, and when they poop, it feeds the coral. These fish, we're gonna feed them, they're gonna poop, the corals are gonna get fed. However, you also get algae and so forth, and then these particular types of fish control the algae, so they eat the algae, and it's just a nice cycle process. So it's just
like a little It's like a little ecosystem inside every single aquarium. Have you ever been to the beach and you see something like this right on the beach with the foam? This is actually what they call a protein skimmer. And Steven, what is inside that?
Fish poop.
So enjoy yourself next time you go to the beach. If you notice, there's actually blue lights on all of these aquariums, and I'm wondering why. Assuming it's making something better for the coral?
Yeah, so essentially different types of UV light, and what it does is it helps the coral grow, and then it fluoresces. So different types of UV, it's gonna look prettier. If we were to take this out in natural sunlight, it's gonna be brown.
Brown.
So not really that pleasing.
So that's the thing, and you got to remember that, you know, as the UV light is penetrating the ocean, the deeper it gets where the corals actually are, there's going to be filtration of the actual water, so you're kind of changing the UV light. This is kind of a manipulation of that in order to produce the most incredible corals out there. See, I already sound like an expert.
These lights actually replicate the sun. They do sunset and sunrise. You can actually do different moon cycles, because corals will only spawn during certain moon cycles. Well, these will actually replicate that.
And how much does this light right here cost?
$950 retail per light.
For one light, $950. So there you go. You got 1, 2, 3, 4,
There's
5,
about
6.
300 in here.
About 300 in here. You know, that's easy. Just a nice little suburban home in Metro Detroit. So these are what they call coral frags here. Just little fragments of coral. Now, interestingly enough, you see this coral right here. This is actually grafted together to create a really cool kind of mutant coral. It's similar to ball python breeding in a way, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what's the process of creating these frags?
A lot of trial and error. So just put different types of coral, or sometimes in your reef, you'll just get an abundance of growth, and you'll notice that the corals aren't killing each other and they start growing in. That gives you an opportunity to kind of graft that coral and realize, oh wow, these actually will grow together instead of killing each other.
So essentially what they're doing is they're going to put the corals together, glue them onto an actual stand, and then they're going to eventually grow together and make this amazing combination here. Not all corals will actually graft. See this little coral here that looks like a little orange or pink brain? This is actually what it looks like as an adult. How long does it take to go from that to that?
Well, there's a lot of different variables depending on the equipment and stability of the salt water in the aquarium and minor trace elements, not to get too confusing. But it could be 7 months to a year and a half, depending on.
And the difference in cost between that and that?
$40 retail, $400 retail.
Only 10 times.
So we have our saw here.
How much should I cut?
I'll show you, like, you can kind of see it actually grew, the frag grew up, the coral grew up and under, which is really cool. So what we can do, and it's going to be kind of slimy, when you hit the saw, essentially every round piece is a mouth, so we don't want to go through that mouth, we kind of want to go around the mouth.
Okay.
Okay. It's a diamond blade, don't have to worry about it cutting you. We'll get a frag plug and some glue, and we'll let you glue it and throw it in there.
All right, can't screw this up, right?
You look crazy right now, dude.
Get to work, Bri.
Wow, he's an expert. Look at this. Yeah, put water on this for you. Boom. Dude, that's perfect.
Right.
If you ever need a part-time job, come to me in October.
Dude, I'm telling you, I might go a full-time job on you here.
And you see how slimy
core.
it is? Look, so the coral's actually right now, because it notices it's in a stress environment, it's actually sliming to protect itself. Really, really cool.
That
You
is
can just
dope.
throw it right in here.
Boom. Sorry, buddy.
And then what we're gonna do, we'll get you a frag plug and some glue, and then put it on a frag plug and glue it up.
All right. Put my name on this one.
What we're gonna do is just throw a little bit of glue right there on the frag plug. So it's a super thick gel, super glue. So what's cool is this glue actually will adhere underwater.
Underwater.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I just put this
Just
on
pop that right on there. Obviously it's a little big, but it's no big deal.
here. Boom.
And you drop it right here in this new water. You can let it lay down and everything.
Okay, poor. Hey, man.
You're done. Good job. Everything actually gets labeled with where the coral goes inside the aquarium, the lighting intensity, and the name of it. All WYSIWYG in these little protected cups and get shipped out next day.
Look at that. Look at all these things.
Don't
man.
touch the new
Look
ones.
at this, man.
That's a macroalgae that we were looking
This
over
is
there.
the filter.
Yep, sure
the
is,
filter
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, that's dope. So once you put this in your filter, how long would it take to grow? I mean, is it going to...
Depending on how the nutrients are, and if it's turned over, that can grow into like a ball really quickly.
Wow, nice. Now, what does this cost?
20, 30 bucks depending on the size.
I just want to take this home and put it in my bathtub. Now, you said that a lot of the corals are actually from like the Indonesian area. That's like the primary area?
Yeah, so all up and down. So Australia to Indonesia, up to Solomon Islands, corals in that range. 98% of the corals in this facility came probably from there.
Wow, that's amazing. Take a look at these corals right here. You can see these little kind of like articulating arms here. That's actually like a defense for them. They're actually reaching out and stinging other corals. Now these ones are relatively similar, so there's not a problem, but if there was like a foreign coral that had an issue, they could actually sting it, and it could literally kill the other coral. It's kind of a protection thing. You don't think of corals as an organism that actually fights for life, but you can see it right here, and it's absolutely amazing.
Another really cool thing that I think you guys might like. So this particular coral is called Holy Grail, $1,500 per head. The coolest thing about this is this was our first truly spawned coral in a system that we found a little baby not even a year and a half ago. And what is mind-blowing for us is why this coral can go from here to this size in such a short period of time versus when we bring coral from the wild, it takes a lot longer for it to grow. So this is like one of our...
What's going on with this
Why is
thing?
it growing? But it's used to synthetic seawater, it's used to synthetic light.
Would you think that if you frag this one out, it would do the same thing, or have you done that yet?
We don't know. This is literally, we haven't had a chance to frag it yet. Don't know. This is very, very interesting coral.
That's awesome. Holy grail. I swear to God, some of these coral frags looks like Lori's Christmas cookies. And the view from the top is absolutely a completely different view. See all the colors, different frags, I mean, different sizes, the different, just all shapes. Absolutely incredible. You know, again, I'm just getting into this world, but so amazing. And every day that I learn more, I just get more excited about the future of keeping these types of things. I mean, wow, this place is definitely top shelf. Speaking of top shelf aquatics, I'm gonna put a link in the description to all their social media stuff. Definitely go show them some love. And hey, if you want a cool frag, I mean, there's no better place to get them, right? So when you get into these, you're going into quarantine to make sure that they're really healthy before they go out to the hobbyists.
Yeah.
Now, how long is a quarantine, let's say, when you're doing the captive culturing of them?
If we bring a coral from the ocean, first of all, most of the time it's not wild, it's called mariculture. That means they're taking a small fragment off the reef and growing it in the ocean. That's called mariculture. Once we get that coral in here, by the time we get it, we quarantine it, we condition it, and it gets growth. Typically, it would take almost up to a year.
A year?
Yeah, and before it can start growing, and then we can just cut a little fragment off.
Is a lot of the frags here like stuff that was actually produced here?
Obviously, everything probably started as a frag or a very small piece of coral, and it has grown over the last 10 years into our stock.
So my next question is, when did you start and when did it become like this? I mean, how long have you been doing this?
We started in 2010, but we weren't really farming. We were just hobbyists that had like the love of coral. A couple years ago, Indonesia got shut down. It changed the whole industry. The whole industry kind of went downhill. We were lucky enough to have my business partner that I actually disagreed with originally. We had a small farm, and it really blew us up because we had all these corals that nobody else could really get because we were growing it here.
Down.
So those 2 years of Indonesia being shut down really helped Top Shelf really grow, and we were able to go into this and just kept growing and growing and growing.
It's so amazing the kind of similarities between reptile and the aquatic community, because we all go through the same thing, and it's just crazy to see how similar they actually are. And then this is actually the retail store here. I mean, take a look at this. Unbelievable. Again, I have dreams of the places like this. All kinds of cool fish. Oh, check these out. Little trigger fish right here. Love clownfish. You guys know that. So there's some beautiful clownfish in here. Got some blue tangs right here. I'm acting like I know a lot about fish, but the truth is I really don't know. Lionfish right here. That's pretty cool. I've never actually seen small lionfish all together like that. That's really cool. It's not going. I mean, how impressive is this place? So you can not only buy wholesale fish, you can come to the retail place and look at yellow tangs. Interestingly enough, yellow tangs used to be pretty common. Now you can't get them. So now a yellow tang this size, that used to only be maybe $30 to $50, $400. It's absolutely incredible. Oh, remember when we were at Sequest, we fed one of these that was a lot bigger. I don't know what the heck it is, but it's weird with those big red eyes. They've got all their coral frags here that people can buy retail, which is really cool. Pro place for sure. And then this is where, of course, you can get like, you know, your tanks. Look at how sleek these tanks look. I mean, just absolutely wonderful. All the filtration will be in the back here, so it's all hidden. You've got this beautiful black glass in the back. I mean, it is so pro. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love you reptile people, but wow, they are light years ahead of us with things. Look at this, how beautiful this is. This is something that I would love in my office. I mean, look at how many corals are in here. Unbelievable. I mean, this is like a little piece of the ocean, which is amazing. There has been so much to check out, and speaking of out, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, there's a playlist that you can watch all kinds of videos. You can also hit that subscription button. It would mean a lot to me. Also, hit that like button while you're down there. Have a wonderful day, Reptile Army. Remember, got a little buzz on now.
Yeah,
for sure.